Bad things happen to everybody. The myth that we're looking at right now, last week we talked about God has a dream. God has a dream for my life. A lot of people feel like there is no dream, that there's nothing there for them. We talked about how that God has a dream for our lives. We busted that myth by looking at the beginning of the story of Joseph. And tonight we have a myth that we're going to look at, and we're going to see how it stands against the Word of God, if we can get that on the screen. Tonight's myth: bad things forfeit God's dream for my life. Okay, bad things forfeit God's dream for my life. Just like the little introduction that you saw there with those 3 different scenarios, you guys are probably in a whole bunch of different kind of situations at home. You see things come across your plate and in your life all the time, good things, bad things. And I know there's a lot of times that we want to follow God's plan for our life. We want to know what God's dream is. We want to see it come to pass. But life is just not pretty, is it? Things happen. Things happen all the time. Some things that we cause, some things that other people cause, some things that, nobody really caused it. It just happened. Tonight's myth: bad things forfeit God's dream for my life. What are bad things specifically? We saw 3 different categories tonight in this intro that we're going to be talking about. The first category for bad things that I want us to talk about, bad things, they may be situations that I've brought on myself. A lot of times we open the door and invite bad things into our lives. The sins that we commit, maybe just, honestly, just dumb choices. We have choice A, choice B, and we choose the wrong one, and we have to pay the consequences for that. Or choices that seemed like good ones at the time, and we really had no other way of knowing that they would be bad ones, but they were. They were bad choices. And so because of our own decisions, our own choices, we end up allowing bad things to come into our lives that get in the way of God's dream for us. Or the bad things that you're struggling with that may cause you to question God's dream for your life. Maybe situations that somebody else chose, but that situation affects you, and it's really not fair, but there you are. You have to deal with it. Divorce is probably the number one situation that teenagers struggle with that was thrust upon them. They had nothing to do with it, and you may feel like you did, but reality, a man and a woman, your mom and your dad, if they're divorced, they had to make that decision, and when they made that decision, they handed it to you too, because you're part of that family. And now you have a bad thing in your life that it impacts your life that you didn't choose. Or for instance, if you've been abused in some way, like Ashley's character in the intro, maybe you've been physically abused or emotionally abused or sexually abused. You didn't ask for that. You didn't choose that. It got thrust upon you, and now you have to deal with the bad thing that seems to stand in the way of God's dream for your life. Or for instance, something that nobody chose. You didn't choose it. Nobody else chose it. Just happened. How many of you guys met and was able to have some time with the kids from Gulfport, Mississippi that came a while back? Anybody? Was anybody in here part of the group that? Yeah. There's a group of kids out at a Methodist church in Gulfport, Mississippi that were hit by their town was hit by Hurricane Katrina, and they lost everything. And a year later, these guys come to our church because we went to them, we ministered to them. They came here to kind of repay the favor and help here. And it was amazing to see the way these kids are still struggling with, what do I do now? Everything around me got wiped out by a storm. I mean, who could have seen that one coming? And now they've got to deal with the consequences of that. Nobody chose that for them, and they didn't choose it. It just happened, and now they got to deal with it. All kinds of bad things come our way. And the thing is we want to believe that God has a dream for us. We want to believe that there's a purpose for our lives. We want to believe that there's a destination that our life is headed toward. But when these things come in the way and they stand between us and that destination, they stand between us and God's dream for our lives, then it's easy to begin to question, can this even really happen? To begin to question, is it just ruined now? Now that this has happened, whatever this is it all over? There's no hope for me anymore. How can I get to what God really wants for me with this in my way? I put it there, somebody else put it there, or it just happened to be there, but now it's there. What do I do? And you may feel like God's dream is forfeited in my life now because of that. I want us to look in Genesis chapter 37. We're talking about the life of Joseph. And I hope you guys, if you were in the Sunday morning service this morning, I hope that you saw the way Sunday morning and Sunday night piece together. It's going to be a really good semester, the way that we're tying our services together. But in Genesis chapter 37, we're going to start reading in verse 18. And if you remember from last week, we're talking about Joseph. Joseph is favored by his dad. He has 11 brothers. At this time, I think he probably only has 10, if I'm right. But these guys are not. They don't really like Joseph a lot because his dad favors him. They're off taking care of their dad's flocks. And in verse 18, Joseph has been sent by his dad to go check on his brothers. But they saw him in the distance, and before he reached them, they plotted to kill him. So they saw Joseph coming before he ever got there. They were already talking about, okay, what are we going to do when he gets here? We're out here, nobody's around. We can take care of this right now and be done with this little pest. Here comes the dreamer, they said to each other. Come now, let's kill him and throw him into one of these cisterns and say that a ferocious animal devoured him. Then we'll see what comes of his dreams. When Reuben heard this, he tried to rescue him from their hands. Let's not take his life, he said. Don't shed any blood. Throw him into this cistern here in the desert, but don't lay a hand on him. Reuben said this to rescue him from them and take him back to his father. So out of the 10 brothers that were there, one of them had mercy on him and said, hey, listen, don't kill him. Just put him in the well. We'll leave him and we'll see what happens. We'll let God take care of it. That way we can go back to Daddy and say, hey, we didn't kill him, because they didn't. They just threw him in a well, but they didn't kill him. But his plan was to go back when the other brothers weren't around and rescue him. So when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the richly ornamented robe he was wearing, and they took him and threw him into the cistern. Now the cistern was empty. There was no water in it. As they sat down to eat their meal, they looked up and saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Their camels were loaded with spices, balm, and myrrh, and they were on their way to take them down to Egypt. Judah said to his brothers, what will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay our hands on him. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh and blood. His brothers agreed. So when the Midianite merchants came by, his brothers pulled Joseph up out of the cistern and sold him for 20 shekels of silver to the Ishmaelites, who took him to Egypt. So Judah, out of the deep brotherly love in his heart, says, let's don't kill him. He is our brother. Let's just sell him into slavery, and he'll all be okay. Let's just go make him a slave. So imagine this. Joseph goes up to his brothers, and basically out of their anger, what they do is they say, we're going to rip the dream off of him. We're going to rip the dream off of Joseph, this robe that our dad has given him that reminds us that he's above us even though he's younger than us. We're going to rip it off of him. We're going to kick him in a well, and we're going to see what happens. They don't do that. They just sell him into slavery, but still. Obviously, something bad has happened in Joseph's life that stands in front of his dream. You know, he's been stripped of his dream, and now he's saying, what is there for me? Can you imagine how he feels when he's packed up with the Midianites, trekking out to Egypt, looking at a lifetime of slavery? He's probably thinking, God, I thought you had a dream for me. I mean, just a little while ago, I had 2 dreams in a row about this. I mean, what is this about? Have you ever felt like in your life, why am I where I am? What's going on with me now? I mean, I thought, God, that you had a purpose for my life, that you loved me, that you wanted something better for me. Why am I where I am now? This doesn't make sense. Tonight, if you're struggling with why, you know, and you feel like maybe the bad things in your life have forfeited God's dream for you, I want to give you 3 gets tonight that I want you to leave with, 3 gets that I want you to take with you, or gets, depending on how you pronounce it. I sound like a southern boy, don't I? Get. 3 gets that I want you to take with you to help you get over that spot, the stalled out spot. The first one is get the right perspective. The second one is get over the pity party. And the third one is get back on the path.